What is up, everyone, and welcome to round 2 of Regrowth Cup 2024. This is an old school 2-pack tournament using Eternal Central rules, and boy do we have some fun decks for this round. So without further ado, let's get into those deck lists. First up, we have Tanny on Pink Weenies. This is a mostly powered list. It's got a Mox and a Pearl. I don't think it's got a Ruby as far as I can tell, but it does have some spice in a Holy Day in the main and one in the side, and if you're not super familiar with that, that's all right. It's a 1-mana instant to prevent all combat damage that would be dealt this turn. Seems like a super cool way to potentially get your opponent out of some combat tricks. Beyond that, though, the list is pretty aggro, I would have to say. A lot of Javelineers, Savannah Lions, Order of Light Beers, some White Knights, and a couple of Sarah Angels too, which is great for, finishing the game if it tends to go long. A couple of Crusades as well, and a couple of Armageddons. And then, of course, the red side is Burn. We got Chain Lightnings, Lightning Bolts, and 2 Fireballs. Overall, a super cool list with a lot of really cool altars, so I can't wait to see how it plays. Next up is Aaron on what I'm gonna just call blue-white Flying Man aggro. He does have a really aggressive line in his deck as well, which will be interesting to see paired up against what I would say is probably the preeminent aggro deck, White Weenie, or in this case, Pink Weenie. He does have the Savannah Lions and a couple of Flying Men, which are really cool adds. 4 of Sarah Angel, 2 Suchis, 4 of Sarah Dibs, pretty much the whole reason to be in blue if you're being aggro, and a bunch of swords, disenchants, all that good stuff. It is a fully powered list. You got an Ancestral Recall, Time Walk. There is, of course, the Mox Sapphire, Pearl, and Lotus. He is running an Orb as well. Ooh, a Mana Drain, which is pretty sweet. Only 1 counter spell, but 4 Psionic Blast to get that extra bit of damage in, which is a super neat add. And then a very spicy one of Air Elemental. Sideboard doesn't seem too crazy. A couple of Psychic Purges, of course, because everyone in our format loves playing black, or maybe it's just me. But yeah, anyways, this should be a really cool matchup, so let's get into the games. All right, we're gonna get a start here. Aaron did have to take a mulligan, so we're just resolving that right now. Tanny did have a keepable 7. I did see lands and spells, at least a 1/1 drop. Looks like this is gonna be a much more keepable hand for Aaron. I believe he has a Tundra, so there is some white sources. Okay, we are putting a Swords back, and he is on the play, I believe, as well, so starting off with a Tundra as I go. No 1-drop. He doesn't have quite as many as Tanny does. Looks like he has a couple options here, too. Alright, we are going with a Lions, say go. That is a great turn 1 play, which will immediately get swords. On the plus side, he does get 2 more life, which hopefully he captures in the dice here. I'm going to point that out to him as well. Thank you.
Power, right?
And I don't see much in the way of a threat yet for Aaron, so I think he's just passing. Yep. His deck does have some early aggressive threats for sure, but it looks like his hand is definitely going to be more of a control. And Tanny kept a 1-lander, unfortunately. And Aaron is just drawing removal spells and disenchants. I believe that's a swords. That's right next to those 3 disenchants. Neither player being able to draw lands. But we do get a Javelineer here. Will it stick around? It does. There's Serendib. Can't cast it yet. Looks like we're going to get some draw go for a little bit. Unless we're really going to swords. Okay, we are going to swords the Javelineer. Tan will go up to 23. He has to like seeing that, though. That's the best thing you can swords, especially if you just get another Javelineer. And let's see if someone can draw another land. Nope, there's a Psionic Blast. Is it worth it to blast the Javelineer? Probably not. Shock yourself to get rid of a 1/1.
This is going well.
And Tanny still not finding his second land. I thought I had saw more than just the 1, but I guess not. Alright, we're ditching a Fireball. Makes sense.
Yep. I only have 7.
Keeping 7 and say go. All right, there's a Caracas. At least it taps for mana. And yeah, might as well get the Serendib out here and hope that Tanny does not have a swords. Looks like he doesn't, or at least he's choosing not to play it. All right, both players hitting their land drops now. Tanny hitting his second color. Oh no, and he was just slow rolling the swords. All right, well, at least a little bit of extra life padding for Aaron until he gets Chain Lightning.
Before I moved my life.
I wanted you to do that.
So
One more.
dug out that extra dice for nothing, and I'm gonna take one more, drop down to 18. Draw for turn. There's another land. All right, we are hitting the land drops consistently. One more, and we can get that Sarah Angel out. Until then, though, yeah, just gonna pass. I think Aaron was seriously considering blasting the Javelineer. He has now taken just as much damage as if he had done it. Oh, and there's a bolt. The aggro deck is slowly starting to pick up steam. Is that the 5th land? It is. That's a City Brass. It will cost him a life to cast it, but there is the Sarah Angel. And oh no, Tanny's got the swords ready and waiting for it. Yep. Now I'm seeing why he may have kept the hand he did. Yes, it was a one-lander, but he had all the answers. As long as he could have kept that lion alive, I think this game may have already would have been over by now. All right, just a pass.
How's that make you feel?
A little frustrated, to be honest.
Shields are down.
Need to land. One.
Just getting in for one. And passing the turn. All right, Ancestral Recall here.
Ancestral.
Gonna cast it.
For me?
Hey,
See if we can get some more action.
Figured that out.
There's a library. A Maze of Ith, which does slow things down a little bit, but... Alright, looks like we are going to just cast the library.
What is this?
that was last turn.
Danny pointed out the amazing... I'm assuming that's a Teton altar because of the signature on it as well. It does look like his style of altar work as well. Very cool. One of the best things about old school, honestly, for me, is just all the cool altars and printings and stories behind a lot of the art in everyone's decks. Signatures are also just super sweet to have. I have a lot of cool stuff that I've gotten signed by artists over the years. And just the conversations with them is probably the best part. All right, we are going to be activating that library now. But are we playing anything else other than a land? He does have a lion, which will immediately get shot by the Javelineer. Now do you Psychic Purge?
I know. You're going to comment on that one.
5 turns later. Doesn't seem worth it.
Done?
Pass.
Nope, I'm just gonna say go.
Oh my gosh. 4, 5, 6, 7.
And surprisingly, Tanny has not seen another land, and it has to be hamstringing him like quite a bit. Yes, his deck is very low to the ground, efficient, but a lot of his stuff, you know, needs a second white mana source. If he wants to cast any of those Sarah Angels, or if he drew his second Fireball.
Lions.
Okay, Lion coming down.
4, 5, 6, 7.
Gonna draw off the library. I'm not sure what exactly he drew there. I think, is that a factory? It is, okay.
Turn. Pass go.
There's another lion. He does have a white source. He could play it out.
Before the end of your turn.
But maybe just holding up the,
Towards that.
oh, that is the third swords. I get swords.
Nope. Very good.
And,
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
does he have his fourth swords?
Yeah, I did move you.
No, okay, he didn't draw for the turn, yeah. There we go.
I'll know from the comments if I actually did or not.
I think that was on Aaron's end step that the swords hit.
You're gonna be like, who are these two fucking
I didn't actually count how many lands were in Tanny's deck, but I'm assuming it was
area now, isn't it?
more than 2.
Last turn.
Oh, interesting. We're just shooting here to get around the factory. Makes sense. So to me, that says he doesn't want to waste his last swords. I think he has the last swords in hand. I thought I saw it. Maybe he doesn't.
The other thing Scott did, he kept spirit linking it. Oh my
Maze
god.
of Ith.
All right, there's a Maze of Ith. Even more
Why can't I get
protection against an aggro deck. There's another Psychic Purge.
I shouldn't have mulliganed.
And there's another line. And the Serendib is coming out. All right.
That's true.
That is a bit dangerous. Obviously, you're taking a point of damage every turn for the Serendib, but Aaron, I think, rightfully seeing that he has to push damage through, and he is actually going to activate his
Last turn.
factory here as well, swinging in. Danny dropping to 21. Bit scary. You got to get a lot of damage in here. There's another Javelineer. And say go. Technically, that plains is tapped. Hopefully, that will not be relevant later.
7.
Oh, maybe that isn't another swords. I think that's a Sarah Angel. But it does look like he has at least 2 White Knights stuck in hand, so I was right about that double white being potentially an issue.
How many is that?
All right, animating the factory, swinging in.
3, 5, 7.
That white should have been tapped to cast the Javelineer, so it was relevant. All right, there's an orb. Are we going after the red source or the white source?
Now are you done? Oh my god.
Nothing? Still? How many lands are you running?
And then he can just not draw a third land to save his life, it looks like. Very harsh. I think he's also got an Armageddon in hand, which seems like a bad idea considering he's probably got a stretch of 10 lands all in his deck in a row.
Shoot your.
Alright, he is gonna shoot the lion, makes sense. Get a little bit of damage off the board at least. And swinging for 1, it'll get mazed, past you. Alright, taking a point off the Serendib. Flying Man. Little flying aggressive threat. Gonna draw a card off the library. There's a Time Walk. That could be a way to push some damage through. If you can play out enough creatures this turn, maybe.
Just brought him in.
That Flying Man, yeah, just came in. Alright, gonna swing at the factory as well.
He's flying, right?
And I'm a bit interested on the Krakus. It's a cool include for style points, but YouTube comments can correct me if I'm wrong. There's not really a deck that plays legendary creatures, right? Alright, we are going to orb here, going for the red source. Doing it after the attack is a bit risky, but... Alright, we're going to see an orb on camera. And it is good. That mountain is toast. And unfortunately, Tanny's back to just one land problems. And we are going to time walk here. Take another turn.
Response?
Take a point from Serendib. Drop to 11. There's the plains. And there's no lion. Alright, we're going to get into combat here. Animate the factory as well. Looking for 6. Take 6, go to 10. There's the lion. We know he's got 2 Psychic Purges in hand. This could be potentially over next turn. And would start off as a very slow start to this round 2. It's going to be wrapping up pretty quick, I think. Oh, Tanny did find his second plains. He will get to actually play out a White Knight. But with those flyers coming in, he takes 4. And takes an additional 8. Yeah, lethal is on the board no matter what. Unfortunately, that White Knight is a little too late. Alright, we're going to get aggressive here, swing for 2. Maze one of them.
Tap 1.
Take 1. Both players at 10.
With my name on the card too.
Danny is tapped out, so I think this will be the game.
I hesitated.
Assuming I was correct in seeing 2 direct damage spells in hand. Alright, swinging with the whole team. Yep, might as well. The important damage he needs to get through is already there.
So my first strike. No, actually, let's do.
Figuring out blocks here real quick. Those psionic blasts are waiting, assuming that's what they are.
Let's do this here. First strike. And I'll block.
Alright, blocks happening. Take 4.
And then I take 3, 4.
Psionic blast number 1. Alright, and psionic blast number 2, and that's going to be game 1 going to Aaron. Unless there's something really sneaky that I can't see, but he'll be taking 4,
And you took damage for that?
and Tanny is taking 8. Right?
Yeah.
Yep, that is going to be game number 1. Alright, on to game number 2. And here we are in game number 2.
That's who you're playing.
Yes.
Hopefully this one progresses a little bit quicker. Both players being a little mana stuck in the beginning of the game is definitely not the best. And I think Aaron's going to be mulliganing here because I don't think he's got a single land. Oh no, he's got a city.
Play with just one like I did, or
A city and an ancestral. Do you keep that?
do I go down? I'm gonna play. Are you gonna play?
Maybe. We are keeping that. And Tanny's got a very similar start to his first game. Turn 1 plains, lions, go. Hey, he finds the second land into a flying man. Alright, we're off to the races. Hey, what are these? Land drops. Nice. Alright, 2 white here for Tanny. Are we going to see a White Knight? Nope. First combat. Take 2. Dropped 18. And yeah, there's a... Actually, that's an order of lit beer. Or light beer. Although I don't see any beer on the table, so I don't know if either player are drinking yet. It is a little earlier in the day. We are only on round 2. City Brass coming down. So swinging for 1 with the Flying Men. You do have a Swords, and I think 2 Angels, and we're just going to say go. So this is post sideboard. I do wonder what both players brought in. I do see a lot of red spells in Tanny's hand and no Mountain yet, and it looks like maybe his Armageddon too. Okay, we are swinging in for 4 here. Swordsing the Order. Gain 2. Aaron takes 2. And that one I'm actually not familiar with. I don't know what card Tanny just actually played. I missed it in the deck tech, and I don't recognize it. I believe it's a Fallen Empires. It might be alt art of Order, maybe, but it's not one I recognize. Or it's just altered altogether. But if you recognize it, let me know. Alright, there's a blue Elemental Blast and a Tundra. That Ancestral Recall, finding at least 2 lands, I think. Gonna get in for 1 with the Flyman. Nope, gonna hold it back, actually. Being able to trade it for Savannah Lions does not seem bad, especially when you're at 15 already. Working your way up to not 1, but 2 Serra Angels. And Tanny was still no red source. But we are going to get in. Are we going to see a block here on the Lion? Yes. And now let's see how much this other card does. This must be... I see like the same activation cost as the Order of Libir. So I think it is still... Yeah, taking 3. It must just be a different art that I don't recognize. Alright, 1 more to go until Serra Angel time. There's a Lion. And pass. We do see that Aaron does have an island in hand as well. So I might have jinxed things by saying both players hitting their land drops. That Lion is getting swords. Take 2. I think that 2 forgot to get marked. So Aaron is at 10. Unless Tanny swung in and then the Lion blocked and then it got swords. That might have been what happened. Alright, Psychic Purge here. Dealing 4. Aaron does take 2. /3. Drops to 9. That is a very hefty price to pay to get rid of a 2/1. Alright, and pass. As another Psionic Blast. I think I keep calling them Psychic Purges because it has kind of similar art, but it is Psionic Blast. It's the instant deal 4 damage to target creature or player, deal 2 to you. Alright, we got a Serra. Does Tanny still have a swords up? He did waste 2, I believe, on some pretty small creatures. And there's an orb. It does not have the mana to activate it right away. And does Aaron have a disenchant in hand? I mean, he can just play out another angel. Alright, swinging for 6. It's a big hit. Dropping to 13. He does have the disenchant. Oh no. Say go. And Tanny, I think, really needing a red source here. Finds a maze. That is a great answer to the angel. But unfortunately, I don't think he has a threat of his own to play out. He does have a disenchant and a bunch of red cards. So thinking he can buy himself a little bit of time here. He's not wrong. Until that second Sarah hits the board.
Does a Maze of Ith work on a Sarah?
But at least a turn.
Yeah.
Alright, gonna pass.
No, that doesn't work on two people.
Danny may be a little angry at the card gods. Unfortunately, just not having any luck with lands today. Alright, there's the second Sarah.
Pass turn.
And pass.
Well, I can hack too.
Okay.
Now his deck doesn't run it, at least not in the main, but Wrath of God would be really good here, assuming he could find another land. It doesn't look like he did, because it would be coming down immediately. I'm not sure what he actually did draw there. Alright, 6 coming in next turn. There's another land. That was a good one. Vicious Factory. Swinging in with the whole team. Take 6. Drop to 5. Danny needing an answer this turn. Ooh, and we're not done yet. We actually have a flying man as well. Then you go.
Did you say last turn? Because that would have been.
So Aaron having lethal a lot of different ways here.
No mount.
That maze not going to be enough to slow the onslaught. Is that a holy day? No, that's a white knight. No, Order of Litbeer. That's something. But it's not going to be enough. Alright, there's a Mox Pearl, and yep, we are done. Aaron takes it down in a clean 2-0. And that's going to be game. Congrats to Aaron again, and my condolences, Danny. That was some rough beats to be caught on camera, but sometimes that's just the way the mana falls, right? Thanks to all of you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. It does really help the channel out and gets more eyes on all these videos. I know old school is not usually our go-to, but it's definitely something I want to do more in the future, and I'm planning on having at least a couple more tournaments lined up in the next few months. If you want to support the channel even more, leaving a comment is a really easy way. What is your favorite card in old school, I guess, would be a good prompt. And if you want to go even beyond that, there is a Patreon link in the video description. That money goes towards making more videos, travel expenses to get to these old school tournaments because there's only so many close to me, and of course just making more videos in general. All right, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you next time.